Welcome to the Six Again podcast, your new destination for all things NRL. Here to bring you everything from team news to best bets are your hosts Adam Hoy and Jarrod Newton. Let's kick off.
All right, so this is round two. Welcome to episode 49 of Six Again. We're one episode off the half century, Jarrod, and we're going probably a bit longer than I expected us to. How are you feeling?
Look, I had complete confidence in us that we know what we're talking about and everyone would love us, to be honest.
Total bullshit, but I love it. Fantastic. We're just going to use that and run it all the way through to the end of the season, the finals. So we're coming into round 15 already. It's kind of flying by in this year where time means absolutely nothing.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It was 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago was last year. We know how it all is. So, in the grand scheme of things, this could be actually a pretty quick show, even though we said that before. Apart from a couple of things at the judiciary to chat about, there's not really that much else going on outside of lawyers getting involved in coaches getting trolled on social media. Unless you've seen something else, Jarrod?
On the signings front, Liam Martin has signed till the end of 2022. It extended his contract.
Hey! You know the order of this show. Come on, we get to that shit.
Oh, sorry. Well,
it's outside of that.
Oh, well, that is outside of it. It's out of the bag now.
Outside of our bubble.
Yeah, so good on Penrith. He's a pretty good player to re-sign. So.
Are you talking about Brett Finch?
He got signed by everyone. What is that? 5 clubs?
Oh, I think 6.
Yeah. So we actually had a bit of a chat about Brett Finch coming into the Warriors bubble a few weeks ago. How as good he's going to be their morale officer. And then a week later, yeah. So I'm pretty sure Brett Finch did worse that we know of. So Brett Finch a week later was caught doing a one-on-one podcast with someone outside the bubble and had photos of himself drinking and smoking with his mate, clearly not with the Warriors team. So Warriors, he got fined and Warriors didn't let him back in the bubble. Todd Payten tried to bring someone in, from what I can see, a pure entertainment value. He has got a pretty decent footy mind, but no one can really take him serious anymore unless he does some decent analysis on something, which you never really see him. But from what people in the know say, that he does have a pretty clinical mind about the game. But despite all that, he's out. He's allowed back in the bubble, and he'll go back to the Matty Johns show, cracking jokes the whole time.
What about Fletcher and Hindy?
What about him?
No, I'm just saying Warriors, if they're looking for a morale officer, double up. And then
I reckon bring Menzies in.
Oh.
He's got a party gear and everything.
He's completely professional away from the game. He's like a mortgage broker or a solicitor or something.
Yeah, but then you see him on the Matty Johns show when he's a part of an act with the Fletcher and Hindy.
All he wears is Speedos.
I will admit, it is great fun watching him because the best thing about him is... Yeah, well, the best thing about him is he's not the number one entertainment. Like, they're doing their bit and he just kind of walks in, says something and walks out, which makes it funny. Yeah. Like, it kind of reminds me of the footy show with Bo Ryan. At the start, it was funny in small parts, but then they gave him entire segments. And then I think by the end, he was running the entire show and it wasn't funny anymore.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about Menzies. He has that relationship where he walks in, does something hilarious and gets out real quick. He's not the focus.
That's just like his career. He's never the main person on the team, but a lot of the times the most important one.
Yeah, so if anyone hasn't seen it, just YouTube Steve Menzies and Fletcher and Hindy's skits or whatever you want to call it, and the stuff he comes up with he has fun, and
I'll say he has fun. I wouldn't say he's funny, but he has fun. I
reckon he's funny. Like
Jared's easily amused. Actually, I'm easily amused. What am I saying?
Yeah, no, you would laugh.
Ooh,
Like
butterfly.
they just come in. He just comes in, says the line, walks out, and what he says, and does the E-O thing. Oh, it's great fun. E-O.
He's so good. All right. So we mentioned a week or two ago about Anthony Seibold and getting pretty much ripped to shreds online, not so much for his coaching, but for his personal life. And he employed some lawyers to try and track down the trolls online. We said then, and we're saying now, we're not going to go into what was said, so we don't have 100% confirmation of that, but it seems as though they're within 24 to 48 hours of pinning the people behind this. Now, what Seibold's lawyer has done is employed a European-based company that track online traffic, and they've narrowed down very close to who they think the sources are. And some of the goss coming out is that they are associates of NRL coaches and NRL club members. So those who had the tinfoil hat theory earlier on about this sort of stuff stirring up to get Seibold fired, that's actually gaining a bit of momentum if it's comes out that it's NRL coaches, wives, children, club members. That's what they're saying. That's who they're pinning it down to.
I know it's what they're saying, but look, that could break a club, that kind of stuff. So yeah. I don't like it. And I don't like the idea.
Are these people trying to break a club already?
Yeah, I'm really trying to not read too much into it until anything definite.
Yeah, anything concrete. I just thought, if you're putting a timeline down of 24 to 48 hours, you're pretty confident in what you're finding.
Like, for example, stuff like that. I remember one a few years ago because we based on the Sunshine Coast, and we were hearing rumours all the way from Melbourne about certain acts that were getting done down there. And it supposedly has got all the way up here. So how diluted the truth got between Melbourne and Sunshine Coast, like how quickly that shit can spread and how people can take their own swing on it, how people can interpret what's been done.
But in saying that, we're an hour from Brisbane.
I know, but you sit there and just like the people spreading this shit could hear they could have heard it from other side of the room, hearing that this happened, and then they told someone else, and it kind of blew up and it spread out. So
I'm looking to see what actually comes out. It's going to be I'm looking at Seibold going, has there ever been a coach where so much has gone wrong so quickly from such a promising spot? And
yeah,
in all honesty, the only things he's really done probably poorly over this whole thing is selections early on and not willing to drop players when they probably should have been dropped.
Yeah. I think the biggest
players having a hand in some of the players leaving, but holy crap, this sort of stuff always starts at the top.
Yeah. So Tony Staggs came out today and actually criticised the senior players at Broncos for
lack of leadership.
And not showing the young guys how to. That can be interpreted in two different ways. One, there's Darius Boyd in that team who's played over 200 games. There's no one else in that team anymore who's played over 200 games.
That's right.
I don't think Tio would have, to be honest. I don't think there's anyone else who's played more than 200 games. They'd be the youngest team in the competition. So you can look at it that way. But how I look at it is I don't think that he was taking a crack at senior players. Because, you got players like Matt Lodge, Pat Carrigan, Darius Boyd, obviously, and they're in the senior leadership group. They're the senior players in that squad.
Pat Carrigan's not.
He's a captain.
Yeah, he's in the junior leadership group. I reckon.
Yeah, but he's
completely legit. And I'm thinking when the Broncos are doing well, the younger junior players aren't talking about a lack of leadership from because they'd get.
Yeah, but that goes with every team though. But what my biggest criticism of Seibold is, I don't think he's setting the standards that he requires at training.
We can't.
That's
not there.
Well, when a team's playing bad, it shows. Like you got to admit that their attitude hasn't been there this year.
No,
their attitude hasn't been there. Their commitment.
Whose lead do you reckon Seibold's following there?
Well, that's what I was going to lead into. I know
that whole club needs a clean out from the top, not from the bottom.
This is what my dad always said, because Jack Gibson said it. Dad loves Jack Gibson. He was in that era. He was before our time, but he was in that era. If your front of house is no good, is rotten, your players are going to be.
Yeah.
The board's screwed, and they're not identifying the Seibold what he needs, and Seibold's not identifying to the players. So it all trickles down.
Yeah.
But a strong coach can get over that, I believe. Des Hasler would be example back in the day. When he got into those 2 free premierships, whatever the hell he did, with Manly, your board was in shambles. But Des Hasler and the players, well, I can't think of too many other examples, because I don't know what happens in the board. The biggest example the other way is Parramatta. They always had the squad there, but their board was fucking hopeless. So, yeah.
It's happening like my Premier League team's Arsenal, and their head of football walked out amicably a few days ago after only being there for 3 years, coming from Barcelona. And we've sucked for more than 3 years. We used to be a big club, big worldwide club. And we couldn't attract big name players because our front of house was shit. The club was being done poorly, and it filtered all the way down to the playing stock. They've started that clear out, so it's going to be interesting to see what that turnaround's going to be. But the Broncos are the same thing. They're losing their stature as a marquee club because the on-field product isn't even near mid-pack level at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I would.
We'll see what comes out of it. It'll be interesting to see if something drops a bombshell before the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I would like to say to Broncos supporters listening to this, man the fuck up.
Oh, that's on Jarrod, not me.
Well, I know we've had this argument before. Shit's gone wrong at your club. Don't throw jerseys at the front door because 1 year of bad.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
No. We mentioned it last podcast. Someone threw the jersey at the front door of Red Hill.
Did we?
You remember that? Yeah.
No.
Someone. I thought you knew that. So yeah, a fan threw their jersey at the front door of Broncos headquarters. Guys, you've been strong since 1988. You're probably the most consistently strong team in the NRL. One bad year doesn't mean you fucking throw it in, start criticising your players. Look at me. I'm a Newcastle fan. I've had a rougher run than you. We've been in the same competition.
The crap standards are accepted at your club.
But look at Adam. He's a Manly fan.
We put up with hate every day, even good or bad.
Yeah, and then look, every team, it's a cycle. Every team has to go through their shit towards it to make them good. And look, look at Newcastle. I'm not saying they're good now, but they're 6 after what? 6 years of absolute horror show. I'm hoping next year Bulldogs pick up a few signings that they're going to get out of their horror show. Tigers are finally showing some life. Who else has been horrible and coming through? Parramatta.
Cycle.
Yeah, it rotates through. So Broncos supporters, I don't care what your problem is, stick by your team. That's my rant.
That's the upside of being a Manly supporter. We've got 2 ways to win the grand final every year. It's either win the grand final or finish above Parramatta. They both pretty much mean the same thing.
Well, you screwed this year.
The last year and this year we're do good. So If we,
my little brother,
I don't care as long as Parramatta's last. But that's the man matter, and they'd say the same thing.
Yeah, my little brother supports Penrith. He's got the biggest head and biggest chest in the world right now, walking around. He's loving life. He went through probably 7 or 8 years of absolute crap, but now he looks like he's going to get the minor premiership.
Yeah, that's worth so much in the NRL. We'll when we get to it.
But it's still an achievement.
Yeah. We'll jump into judiciary. So this is kind of, we mentioned on Sunday night's episode about Kevin Proctor getting sent off in his 250th game for biting Shaun Johnson's arm. So if you haven't read the breakdown of what happened in the judiciary, it's freaking hilarious because they brought Shaun Johnson in and what did he say? Did he think he got bitten? Yes. On reflection, no. Rah, rah, rah. They asked Henry Perenara's opinion, the ref's opinion, and the head of the judiciary friggin' tried to put him in line saying, we're making the decision around here. You're not asking the referee's opinion. You're asking for fact. Rah, rah, rah. And Shaun Johnson was dropping F-bombs. In the end, Kevin Proctor got 6 games for sucking on Shaun Johnson's arm. That got dropped to 4 games based on a 7-year good behaviour record and a 25% reduction in his suspension. Now, I don't think neither Jarrod nor I 100%, said with 100% confirmation that it was a full-on bite to Shaun Johnson's arm. One, I don't get it because it's pretty friggin' hard to bite with a mouth guard in. Biting takes your upper and bottom teeth. But anyway, 4 games. And the statement said a red circle on Shaun Johnson's arm. No bite marks, no teeth marks. It kind of sounds like I'm trying to excuse biting. I'm not. It's wrong. He should have been suspended. But 4 games, considering there were 2 other suspensions this week for hip drop tackles where you take someone's knee out and that could end their career, and they got, what, a week? Hethrington gets 4 weeks for concussing a player, considering the NRL is meant to be taking head injury seriously, and yet the same, or less time, than sucking on a dude's forearm.
All right.
Really?
You want another rant?
You're not going to end someone's career by sucking a few skin cells off their arm.
Yeah, so I 100% agree. 4 to 6 weeks is ridiculous. 1 week at the most.
If he took his mouth guard out and Mike Tyson the shit out of his forearm, yeah, all right, 4 to 6 weeks.
Like James Graham.
Yeah, if you're like going to rip out some dude's flesh, biting's gross. He shouldn't be doing it. He should be suspended. Sent off, probably not. But, yeah, suspended. But compared to a concussion and a fucking,
I see a lot of mistakes in this whole process. So, 1, he shouldn't have been sent off.
No.
But 2...
He came out and said he should have, though.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. Considering what's actually happened, I keep referencing Hethrington, but that was more of a send-off than Kevin Proctor.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Really annoys me, especially because Tapau missed out a game and a half for it.
Oh, we can't. I don't know if we can take that into it.
Okay, but here's what I see a bit dicey in the judiciary's favour. Shaun Johnson's initial reaction was the most honest thing he did the entire time. So he got up. He didn't know who he was tackling. He accused him of biting him. And he turned around to the referee saying he effing bit me straight away, if you look at the footage, and blows up about it. And then Henry Perenara, I think, stops the game. And then Shaun Johnson does the 180, looks who is biting him, argues for another 20 seconds about the fact that he did bite him, and then Henry Perenara calms him down, pulls Shaun Johnson away, and Shaun Johnson realises it's Kevin Proctor, one of his best mates, and go, no, he didn't bite me. That's the part that shits me off, because if it was anyone else who wasn't, I don't know, they played together at New Zealand. No. Yeah, for New Zealand, the Kiwis. They're obviously pretty close. If be anyone else, it'd be interesting what tune Shaun Johnson will be singing in the whole thing. So I think the judiciary is going on the initial complaint. And then you got to ask...
Bringing too much in from outside.
Yeah, but then you got to ask the fact that Shaun Johnson recanted after obviously calming down his emotions and realising who it was, because that's what happened. And then he went to judiciary to defend him. But I feel like the judiciary panel, all they had to show was that initial footage of how Shaun Johnson reacted, because that's how I think he was being honest. I think he genuinely thought someone bit him in that case. So for the NRL's perspective, or the judiciary's perspective, that's why Shaun Johnson's backup didn't really matter, because I think he was being more honest, the original, like at the point of happening. If you understand, does that make sense? Like, yeah. So,
sure, and that's what Shaun Johnson's still getting a fine out of this for the fact he took remarks to the media and stuff before the judiciary had done it,
which really shits me off. Because rugby league's owned by the media, and judiciary think they have a special place not to cop criticism. Whereas I'm a big advocate for not criticising referees, but these guys watch footage for 3 days or however long before the judiciary, listen to like half an hour arguments from two legitimate lawyers, and then they still make the wrong decision. I'm going to criticise the judiciary for making the wrong decision, but I'm also going to criticise Shaun Johnson for he lied. Unfortunately, that's the reality. He lied for a mate, unfortunately. So the whole thing's a joke. The whole situation's that. There's no correct decision or correct motivation throughout the whole thing. And look, I agree with you. Kevin Proctor wasn't legitimately trying to bite him, I don't believe. But if you look at the footage...
I got like 6 weeks, man.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. That's what I said. The whole process from the moment Kevin Proctor bit him to the moment they announced that he got 4 to 6 weeks or whatever you want to call it, it was a joke. The whole situation was just run badly.
Would you put biting on the same level as like screw it?
No.
No?
I actually...
They're both just dirty, stupid plays that don't need to be in the game. Look, they're gross. You don't do it. Neither of them are worth 6 weeks.
What annoys me about the NRL is, like, this rule is a dog act compared, like, for, like, the 80s and stuff like that. Because back when football used to be football, men were tough. They didn't bite people. They didn't squeeze people's nuts. They didn't do it if they wanted to fight, they fought them. That was what NRL was in the 80s and earlier. So that's where the anti-biting thing comes from, because it's not a men's way to react. I don't know if that's a thing to say these days. But what's the difference between that and tripping? To be honest, is that a dog act to you? Because tripping doesn't get sent off either. It's just a penalty. Or sometimes not even that.
So that's the only time I ever got sin bin in a game of rugby league was for tripping someone. And I felt instantly I felt so low and
considering
I was shitty at myself. I didn't even look at the ref. I said sorry to the fella and I just started walking off to the bin. I didn't even look to see if I'd been sitting. That was up at Pomona versus Coolum.
So I'd like to tell you a story about Adam, because Adam's a few years older than me. So he played in the seniors when I started seniors when I was 16, but I wasn't allowed to play when I was 15. So I was his water boy the year before in his first year of football, first year rugby league for the team we played for, Parramatta. And Adam is so proud on the field. He doesn't show too much weakness. It's great. And my favourite story about him was that he doesn't like drinking water while he's playing. Do you remember this?
Oh, it could be one of many. I'm just waiting to hear what's freaking coming out of your mouth here.
No, it's not that bad. It made you
not
sick.
That bad,
but two,
great.
You didn't think it was. You didn't think it was right to take water because you missed a tackle once, and Adam missed a tackle. And I will admit, old mate scored 30 meters down the field. Adam was the last line of defense, and I walked up to him, water boy. I'm trying to get him up, give him some water. And he goes, "I don't fucking deserve water," and fuck this, going off his nut. And I was like, "Mate, you're allowed water. It's not that big of a deal." And he goes, and he's like, "No, I don't deserve it." So Adam's so proud, he doesn't even think he deserves water on the field. It took me 6 games to teach him that he's allowed to spit it out if it makes him sick. But Adam was so proud that he made a mistake on the field, he felt like he didn't deserve water. So when he says that he felt horrible for tripping someone, I fully believe him, because that's what he used to be like when he was playing football. He missed this one tackle, and this guy, he was well above the grade.
Guys, I'm a dick now. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and so me, this little 15-year-old toddling on and trying to give him water, I'm getting told to fuck off by guys like 7 years older than me. It was great. But yeah, so that's why that story holds water in Adam's opinion, because he's so proud on the football field that if he did miss a tackle, he would not accept water. And this guy, he was like, I'm pretty sure he dehydrated himself like 3 days before the game, because he was like on the ground half vomiting and dry retching because he was that wiped out, but he still didn't think he deserved water.
Yeah, if I had the water, I'd actually throw up. Without the water, I'm only dry reaching.
No, you just said I don't deserve it, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, well, I'd say I learned, but I didn't really. But like, if I got bit on the field, like, I'd turn around and try to elbow the guy in the face or whatever it is, because it's a dirty play. But if I went off, and then even in C grade, if I found out that he got suspended for 6 weeks, I'd be like, "Whoa, that's..." Unless like I'm missing a chunk of my arm. Like, I got freaking on that same field in a different game. I got picked up by one guy, and another guy had a swinging arm in the side of the head and ruptured my eardrum. From memory, it was I played the ball, and then I was just yelling, "I can't hear!"
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure if you got bit against half the guys we used to play, you need a blood test after just to confirm some things.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know. It's the judiciary needs to be completely scrapped, restarted, just like racism, and just.
Well, me and Adam were talking about. They got Bob Linder, Ben Cray, who's he's got a pretty set reputation now, and Sean Garlick, whoever the hell that is. I'd like to research it. So you got Bob Linder, one of the most famous tough guys of the 80s. And I'm pretty sure he coached Australia or something like that. You got Ben Cray, played for New South Wales, Australia, what a premiership-winning player at St. George. And I feel like Sean Garlick used to play not very well. But, yeah, so you got 3 ex-players who see that and they still gave it to him. So,
Sean Garlick,
from the moment Proctor,
former professional rugby league footballer, former policeman, former actor, and now businessman.
Oh, geez, it does everything. So, yeah, that's how I see it. The moment from the bite to when Proctor got off his Zoom call last night, the whole situation was an absolute joke and did not put rugby league in a decent light anywhere.
No. All right. Well, let's shoot off that and head to signings. As Jarrod mentioned earlier, Liam Martin has agreed to an extension with Penrith, keeping to the end of 2023. And in a forward pack where you've got guys like James Fisher-Harris, Isaiah Yeo, and Kikau, who are your meter eaters and a bit of, a lot of your aggression, a bit of ball playing, Liam Martin's the perfect complement to that. Hard tackling, hard-nosed player, perfect forward that you want. To me,
you know what he reminds me of?
Johnson, Sean Fensom sort of mould, but with a bit more grunt to his runs.
Yeah, do you know what he reminds me of?
Yeah.
You know that guy in Lord of the Rings, the orc, who they give the flame, and they make him run into the thing to blow up the. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
No.
Ah, okay. So they get an orc to run through it, and it's the shittest job.
That's the midget one, eh?
Yeah, Hobbit. So they get this one orc, Uruk-hai, if you want to go technical. He's got a flame in his hand, and they've got the explosives under this concrete wall.
I'm guessing Liam Martin's the one that runs in and does that.
Because that's the sort of guy he is. He would do the shit plays and he'd kill himself, but he'd still do it.
Yes. There you go. Yes. There you go, Marky Moore. There's you right there in a player. So, yeah, Jarrod mentioned Albert Hopewadi joining the Warriors for a loan. I was hoping that as a Manly fan with the late injuries, we were going to hear I know he'd been called back, but he's with the Kiwi club for the next month, and there's a pretty high chance he's going to make his debut in the NRL for the Warriors instead of Manly, which is going to be interesting if that happens, considering they have no Fusitu'a or Mamalo. And the other ones we've already mentioned, Kane Evans, Ewan Aitken have signed for the Warriors starting next year, and Adam Elliott has stayed at the Bulldogs. Nothing else on that front. Injuries. So scans have confirmed Jarrod suffered a high-grade AC joint, may need surgery. So what's he doing? They're seeing a surgeon decide whether he should take the surgery or the conservative approach. If you're going to take the conservative or the surgery, you'd say that he may have played his last game for the Titans, depending on how he heals. Dale Copley's likely to have surgery to repair a major pec tear. Patrick Herbert out for 3 weeks with a hamstring injury, so there's another spot for Hopewadi could move into. Or let's have a look. Adam Kieran copped a heavy knock at training that resulted in a broken nose and 3 to 4 stitches in his top lip. He's going to miss this week against the Bulldogs. The Storm, Titans and Dragons, like we said. Jesse Bromwich, Tyrell Fui-Mayono with the 2 players suspended for hip drops. The first 2 as well. And Kevin Proctor out. Through judiciary, Dale Finucane's out for 6 weeks due to his calf injury, joining Vunivalu. Storm are hurting right now. Cam Smith should be back next week, as could Cam Munster, which is great for me, because they're both against the Seagulls. Joel Thomas, if you haven't seen his slit open tongue, check it out. He's been named to play this week, although he has pulled out a couple of stitches just from talking so far this week, even though he's just meant not to.
Yes, talking.
Alex Twile, Thomas McKaylee should be back for the Tigers. Brett Morris, Jarrod Hargraves, Angus Crichton. Brett Morris and Jarrod Hargraves likely to return. Angus Crichton, Daniel Tupou not yet. We talked about Tom Flegler out for the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's trying to push through it. Yeah, he's trying to.
Humeral ligament against the Raiders. He's not going to play through that.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but that's what they've been saying.
Training this week, and Saifiti's out for 2 weeks. Daniel Saifiti, 1 to 2 more weeks. Sorry. All right, let's go through team lists. So yeah, with the Storm injuries and then Jesse Bromwich's suspension, it's kind of leaving Thursday night without a bit of star power, especially on the Storm team. You've pretty much got a full strength Parramatta against a close to third string Storm team.
Yeah.
You look at their back line, there's 2 of 7 who are regular starters, which is crazy.
I'd say 3.
Oh, Olam or Lee?
Olam. You're Pappenhausen, Olam, Addo-Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say 3.
And then in their forwards... forwards have been interchangeable here. But anyway, we'll run through here. So Parramatta pretty much same as last week. So Gutherson at fullback with Mike Sevo and Blake Ferguson on the wings. Michael Jennings, Wanga Blake in the centres. Dylan Brown at 6 and Mitch Moses at 7. In the forwards, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Junior Paulo starting props with Reid Marnie as a hooker. Sean Lane, Ryan Madison and Nathan Brown are your back row and lock. Interchange, Ray Stone, Murata Niokore, Kane Evans and Oregon Kafusi. On the reserves, Andrew Davey, who's been getting a run lately, and Hayes Dunster. Wouldn't be surprised to see Andrew Davey come in.
Nah.
For the Storm, check this back line. Ryan Pappenhausen at fullback. Sandor Earl is going to get another crack opposite Josh Addo-Carr on the wings with Brenko Lee and Justin Olam in the centres. Riley Jacks and a debut for Cooper Johns. Matthew Johns.
I'm still disappointed none of them are debuting for Newcastle, though. Because Cooper and Jack debuted within a month of each other now.
That's true. Christian Welch starting prop with Nelson Asafa-Solomona coming in for Jesse Bromwich. Brandon Smith starting at hooker. Felice Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich, who is captain for this match. And Tino is playing starting lock. So Fasit Mawali, he's been starting either second row or bench. So this will be a change up for him. Nico Hines is the reserve back on the bench, along with Tom Eisenhuth, Albert Vite, and Darren Schonig comes in. They do have Marion Sevi in the reserves. You're looking down like the write-up of this match. Parramatta's unchanged. We said last week they haven't been looking that good, and then they lose to St. George. And then you look at the Storm have outscored them 96-10 in their past 2 clashes. And everything's saying, go Storm. But then you're looking also at the Storm. No Bromwich, no Smith, no Munster, no Vunivalu, no Finucane, no Max King, who's not a household name, but he's a big body off the bench. But, yeah.
Oh, who are you picking?
Smith goes out. We're like, oh, yeah, Munster will take care of it. Munster goes out. You're like, oh, they've still got the forward pack. Finucane goes out. You're like, oh, yeah. Vunivalu. Oh.
Who are you going?
I hate tipping against the Storm at any time, ever. Even when they're injured. If they were versing the... No offense to these teams, I'd say Manly as well, actually. If they were versing Manly, Tigers, Titans, I'd still be going Storm, but I'm going to have to go Parramatta.
You know what? I am going Storm.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So, this whole year I've been failing in tipping because I've been picking team lists over what's going on. Now, this game I'm not, just for that reason. But all Melbourne have to do, because I believe they've got 2 or 3 tries in that team. Because you look at that forward pack, you've got minus Tino at lock. That's still an international forward pack.
Welch.
Starting. Oh, sorry, he played for Queensland. So you still got a rep forward pack over Campbell Gillard, rep Junior Polo.
Well,
no, he's not a rep. He hasn't played rep. Sean Lane, no. Ryan Madison, probably future. And Nathan Brown, no. So the forward pack's got it over the top. Plus, you still got Brandon Smith in the middle to hold everything together. The back line, you got Pappenhausen, Olam, and Josh Addo-Carr. You get them in a bit of space. Any bit of space, I think they can run over the Parramatta back line. The thing that concerns me is the bench. So you got Ray Stone, Nakora, Kane Evans, and Oregon Kafusi. On the other side, you've got Nico Hines, Eisenhuth, Vete, and Schonig. So Schonig actually debuted about a month ago. He played 15 minutes and got dropped. They got pulled off really quickly because he let 3 penalties go. I picked him as one of Melbourne's breakout stars this year. I'm hoping that was just nerves in his debut. But yeah, so the bench concerns me, but I just think they are missing a lot of players. but they've still got a lot of players. If do you understand? Like,
yeah,
they've still got a decent team. Like, if minus the rookie halves, probably in Riley Jacks and Cooper Johns, because I wouldn't wish it upon any team that Riley Jacks is your senior half because he's not ready yet. But minus the halves, I think they match up to him pretty well all over the park.
I'm just thinking Brad Arthur's going to be ripping them after their display last.
Yeah, that's right. I just hope. And Parramatta haven't reacted as we thought they have when that's happened this year. No, but yeah, so I'm going
Parra. You're going Storm. I reckon this next game's match of the round, considering both teams are playing. Penrith Sharks, and you wouldn't have said this even probably a month ago. No, because they were about 2 wins into this streak that the Sharks are on.
Yeah.
I've got to give credit to the coach. He's brought this pack together. And I swear the only change that Penrith have been making is whichever fullback's not injured. So, take it away.
Yeah, so they've got Penrith have got Dylan Edwards, Josh Mansell, Tyrone May, and Stephen Crichton with Brent Naden as their back 5. Then you got Jerome Luai, Nathan Cleary in the halves, James Tarmo, Coruscant, Fisher Harris in the front row with Kickow, Liam Martin, and Isaiah Yeo locking the scrum. Then you got Dane Laurie, Spencer Lenu, Moses Leota, and Zane Tedovano with Mitch Kenny, Brian Toto, who's back now, so he might be a late inclusion.
That's the big name.
Matt Burden and Billy Burns. So, yeah, that's not a bad team. That's pretty good, actually. I think that's their strongest. And the fact that he can keep Toto down, I don't think they have any other injuries, to be honest. Nah,
so
they don't.
What you'd be looking at there is, because Penrith's playing so well, do you give him another week, or do you want him to come back in a winning team where the running may be a little easier?
Who's this?
Brian Toto.
Well, look, I don't think the problem is he was playing really well before he got injured.
Yeah.
I don't really haven't seen too much of Brent Naden to go, yeah, he's at first grade yet.
No,
but
take Tyrone May out and move Naden into the centres.
Oh, okay.
Because he was playing centre.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I actually like that team a lot better than now. Because Tyrone May...
So you'd have Naden inside Mansour and you'd have Toto outside Crichton.
Which is completely understandable. They've got 4 forwards on the bench.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that might be a smart thing to do. And then put Tyrone May...
It'll be interesting to see who Penrith play next week. It might be an easier matchup.
Okay.
It's not going to be an easy beat.
For Cronulla, you got Will Kennedy, Sione Katoa, Josh Dugan, Jesse Ramian with Mulatalo as your back 5. Then you got Matt Moylan, Sean Johnson, Braden Hamlin-Ueli, Blake Brayley, and Aaron Woods up front with Sia Sofa Talakai, Wade Graham, and Toby Rudolph, my favourite breakout player of the year. You got Connor Tracy, Scott Sorensen, Jack Williams, Royce. I love Cronulla's bench. I reckon it's absolutely fantastic. And you got
There was
Teague
whispers
Wilton.
about Fafita coming back in this week, but
yeah, it might be next week. And then you got Teague Wilton, Britton Nakora, Braden Trindle, and Bryson Goodwin rounding out the 21. So I reckon Cronulla probably have the best bench of the competition by far.
And they don't even have Brighton Nakora on their team at the moment.
Yeah. So, and he's a starting second roller at least 10 of the clubs in a row.
Winger Sione Katoa has scored the most tries by a Sharks player after 14 rounds since Eddinghausen in 88.
Does that show how well of a try scorer he is, or how
Well, I
bad
called him out last year saying that his last season in the 20s, he was unstoppable. And he came in first grade and
in saying that too,
end of season, and now he's just killing it.
In saying that too, they had that year where Valentine Holmes scored about 25 tries.
Yeah.
And that was the year they won the grand final with Ben Barber lighting it up too. So I'm actually a little bit surprised about that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep tipping Penrith till they lose because they're on such a roll. They're in such a groove. And I've got to give credit to the Sharks considering how many changes they've had this year with Will Kennedy, Matt Moylan, Dugan, Fafita being injured, Scott Sorensen and Jack Williams not playing up to the stands they were hoping, Toby Rudolph coming in as a rookie, starting to play lock. They've had a lot of shifting and moving. Mulatalo on the wing for a bit. Who's the other winger they've used as well? Can't think of his name. Herete?
Moses Hiroti or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
And then Bryson Goodwin back in. I like how their team's set up right now. I know it's going to change when Townsend gets back, that Moylan will drop back to fullback, but Will Kennedy's a definite first grader. I'm tipping Penrith. I'm not going to be surprised if Sharks win, but I also won't be surprised if it's very high scoring both ways because...
Yeah. I'm tipping Penrith, but yeah, I agree. There's a chance because I still maintain
there at some point, right?
No, well, yeah, that too, but I still maintain Cronulla and Dark Horses competition just because of the team they've got.
And they haven't started playing to what they can, I don't think.
Yeah, and look, as I said before, their bench is just all class. You got Jack Williams, Scott Sorensen, Braden Hamlin, Ueli, and then and you got Connor Tracy, he's a young player, but he's a really good. He's a pretty good halfback, and he can play a fair amount of positions.
I Sean Johnson play like he is.
So I reckon on their day
for me right now.
On their day they can beat anyone, and I doubt anyone who's watched them play and looks at their team list feels comfortable every time they play them because they can put 50 on any team. Yeah. The squad they have. So, yeah.
Jesus.
All right. So, next game is the... you can't even pick how this one's going to go because they're both these teams fade out in the last 20 minutes of the game.
That's it. The odds for Penrith Cronulla are almost exact the same odds as St George Brisbane. So Penrith are $1.30, St George are $1.29, Cronulla's $3.50, Brisbane are $3.60. So they reckon Penrith's as good a favourite as St George's. Let's go through. So Broncos fullback, Darius Boyd with Richard Kenner and Herbie Farnworth on the wings with Katoni Staggs and Jordan Kahu coming into the...
Yeah, first game of the year.
Look at that. Anthony Milford is back in the team at 5'8" with Tom Dearden at halfback. Forwards, Joe Hoffengowie gets a start with Reece Kennedy to replace the suspended Payne Haas. Isaac Luke at hooker. Corey Peck's on the bench. David Fafita, Ben Teo, and Pat Carrigan are their second row and lock. Interchange Corey Pax, Jordan Ricky, Ethan Bullimore, and Jamil Hopewadi, name we haven't seen for quite a while. Brody Croft and Jesse Arthurs are named in the reserves.
With Pride, Patterson, Rabati, and Sean O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I'm just naming the ones that have got a chance of getting in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you better hope you don't get a late forward things because Pride's going to have to debut because you've got a winger and two halfbacks in your 21.
Yeah, it's true. St George, Matt Duffy at fullback with Pereira and Ravalawa on the wings with Ewan Aitken and Zach Lomax in the centres. Corey Norman and Adam Clune, 5'8" and halfback. Blake Laurie and Josh Kerr are starting props with Ben Hunt at hooker, Tyson Frizzell, Tyrell Fuimaono, and a new addition to my fantasy team, Cam McInnes at lock. Jacob Host, Kate Ellis, Corbin Sims, and Paul Vaughan makes his return on the interchange from his self-induced suspension. Reserves, you've got Trent Merrin and Braden Williame named in the reserves, along with Tristan Saylor again. St. George?
Oh, you have to. I just want to...
I didn't even tell you about my fantasy trade this week, did I?
I just want everyone to have a look at this forward pack. So you got Offahengawi up front with Reece Kennedy and Isaac Luke at hooker. Fafita, Teo, and Carrigan. I want Broncos supporters to think back to last year and go, that's our forward pack. And when you look at it, you're losing Fafita, you're losing Pangai. So that's close to what the forward pack's going to be. And I just want to throw out what they're missing right now. Right now they're missing Flegler, Lodge, Haas, Pangai, and Turpin. So out of that forward pack, the only player who would play if everyone was fit would Carrigan. Carrigan and Fafita, probably. Everyone else would be out. It's ridiculous, isn't it? So you look back at the forward pack they had coming through and the forward pack they're going to have for the future from now on. I would actually say Carrigan and Flegler would be the ones getting dropped out of that team if everyone was, playing correctly. Because they're starting to be Lodge and Haas with Fafita and Pangai in the second row, Carrigan or Flegler at lock, and then you got Turpin at hooker.
Yeah, so George in this one.
Yeah, it's amazing that they're missing so many people, but the reality of it is, since they're losing Fafita and now it looks like Pangai, this is what their forward pack's going to look like for a fair amount of time.
You notice, I got rid of it finally. That's right. Right when he gets a start at lock, I traded Tino and Takiaho.
Yeah.
Up David Clemmer and Cameron Kinnis.
No, that's not bad.
So my forward pack now, if everyone's there, Payne Haas and David Clemmer with Tamalolo, Trebojevic, Madison, McInnes.
Okay.
Grant and Coruscant. Let's go.
So the next team, when my
both
thing decides to work for me, I'll get it up.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you go. This is ridiculous.
This will be a fun game. Titans versus Raiders up on the Gold Coast. So AJ Brimson at fullback with Anthony Don and Philip Sammy on the wings with Brian Kelly and young Tonamapia. I reckon that's the Titans' best back five.
Yeah.
Ash Taylor and Jamal Fogarty in the halves. Just best back line. Jarrod Wallace and Jimin Jolliffe starting props with Nathan Peets. It looks as though he's pretty much tied down that hooker role now. Kevin Proctor, Kevin Hipgrave, and Moiki Fodawaker has moved from prop back to lock, and I think that's right up his alley. I can see him pumping out a good effort from there. Interchange: Tyrone Peachy, Sam Lasone, both Fairmore and Sam Stone, with Corey Thompson dropping back to the reserves. For Canberra, Charles Nickel-Clockstad at fullback with Rapana and Kotrick on the wings, Croker and Scott in the centres with White and Williams in the halves. So you've pretty much got both teams' best backlines out there, you'd say. Forwards, Josh Papali, Dynamis Louis with Havili at hooker, John Bateman, Elliot Whitehead, Hudson Young, second row and lock, with Tom Starling, Joseph Tarpany, Ryan Sutton, and Corey Hawiranaya on the interchange. Just keep in mind that Ryan Sutton was a late switch to starting lock last week. So keep an eye out for that. I don't see anyone in the reserves coming in. Got a couple of halves and a couple of forwards. I'm going to go Canberra just because they've kind of got more on the line, I think. But I didn't really think I'd be saying this. I think the Titans have got enough points in them to worry the Raiders. And we know the Raiders' attack pretty much all season hasn't been what you'd call fluent. What was it, 8-6 last week at halftime? Broncos over Canberra. and then they ran away with it in the second half. It was pretty much the first time in a while you've seen Canberra string that many points together in one hit. Yeah, I'll go Raiders, but I'm not as confident as I would have been last year.
Yeah, I'm going Canberra. I don't think Titans will be able to.
Sorry. I just named Kevin Proctor, but we know he's suspended.
Yeah.
This obviously, because it's a Saturday game, it hasn't updated yet. So you'd expect probably Tyrone Peachy to come into starting second row, maybe Sam Stone, and then Jai Whitbread probably to come in out of the reserves, you'd say. It's the other
so
back and two hookers.
I doubt. I think Canberra is starting to come onto a bit of a roll. To be honest, I think they'll really start playing well towards the end of the year. And saying that too, I've always criticised how Ricky Stewart coaches, that he emphasises we're always got our backs to the wall. Everyone kind of hates this kind of thing. I really hate that. I don't think they can keep that up for a long period of time. But Canberra's still.
Man. That's already taken.
Well, that's how they got to the grand final, that attitude. Everyone hated us. NRL hated Canberra. They treated us bad. Whatever we asked for, we didn't get. But Broncos and Melbourne and Roosters got handed everything on a silver platter. That was what Ricky Stewart went off and said last year.
No, the truth hurts.
Yeah. So I think they'll be pretty comfortable against Gold Coast this weekend. I think Bateman's going to their 4-pack's going to run a bit of a muck, especially
Bateman's going to bake them.
Bateman, yeah. No, Bateman's going to run a bit of a muck out there, I reckon.
Would you say that the Titans are Wobbegonnne?
So, yeah, Canberra...
title of the episode right there. Boom.
No.
Titles around here. Let's go. Next.
Okay, so the next... All right, what was it?
Tigers and Roosters. Tigers in an upset.
Well,
I got it right last week.
So with the Tigers, you got Packer, Liddell, and Alawai up front with Leilua, Garner, and Eisenhoff. That's a pretty strong forward pack. No real size other than Leilua, really though. Then you got Marshall and Brooks in the halves, Mbai, Leilua, Norfoluma, Talau, and Dewey. Just note, Talau had a pretty bad game last week, so it'll be interesting how he bounces back from that. You got McIntyre. Elijah Taylor's back from he played last week, but they still can keep him there. Josh Reynolds and Alex Seyfarth with Twal at 18. So you wouldn't be surprised that he was a late inclusion with McKaylee. Chris Lawrence announced his retirement. We didn't actually announce that. We didn't actually say that. So he's been one of my favourite players for a long time. I just think he's been... because he's played for a team that wasn't so strong since he debuted. He's been a bit hamstrung. Never played for New South Wales.
Yes, he did.
Chris Lawrence.
Yes, he
played
did.
for City Country. That's about it.
Oh, is that why the blue jersey? Yeah. You say Alex Twal would come onto that interchange.
Yeah, so Chris Lawrence announced his retirement from a 15-year career. I still remember watching his debut game wherein he ran down the sideline at 17 years of age. And if you really want to listen to something cool, he's actually got releasing a lot of clips about his career, having a big chat about it. So he's got, I think it's like a 4-part series. He chats about what his debut was like. And then the next day he had to go sit his HSC exam and stuff like that, which is really cool. He got in trouble. He got in trouble on the way home from his debut game because he was sitting next to Chris Hethrington on the plane because they played on a Sunday afternoon. They flew back to Sydney that day. Sitting next to Chris Hethrington after they just beat the Broncos 30 points to 6 at Suncorp Stadium. Chris Lawrence gets his bag out, pops out his books because he's got his big Year 12 test the next day. Chris Hethrington knocked him off the thing, gave him a beer and told him, mate, enjoy your first grade win. First grade win. And that typifies Chris Hethrington awesomely, doesn't it? And shows that he's not really too sure about, getting an education. So, for the Roosters, You got Takiaho, Friend, and Rhea Hargraves, as Adam said, is back with Butcher, Tupanua, and Isaac Liu at lock. Flanagan's gets a recall. Sorry?
I said, come on, Tupanua.
Flanagan gets a recall at halfback since Lachlan Lamb was injured with Drew Hutchinson coming at 6.
Because Geary is out 3 to 4 weeks with a broken rib.
Yeah. Joseph Manu Morris is back. I'm pretty sure that's Josh. Yep.
And
with
Brett.
Ikavalu. The other Morris, Brett, is on the wing, and Tedesco at fullback. So it's starting to trickle back slowly, their team. They've still got a pretty bloody good team, though. Then you got Darcy Lussick, Famasuli, Fafita, and Collins at 17 with Nat Butcher, Ryan Hall, Max Bailey, and Sam Walker. So there's a chance that Sam Walker is going to get a start on the bench as well. Yep, another half. But look, much as Tigers has been winning, they barely beat the Bulldogs last week. They got pumped by Newcastle the week before. Roosters, I reckon Flanagan's going to come out with something to prove this week. And he's going to, play to what he's shown all year. And, they've got Morris back. They've got Manu playing in for.
Was it last week's match where Kiri broke his rib?
Yeah. So, Drew Hutchison, look, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of him. He's a solid reserve grader. He's good, but he's just not he's just not there.
He's a guy.
He's a guy. He's going to have a crack. I always give him that, but he's got a good kicking game, though. I'm expecting Roosters to run over this. Sorry?
First game without Kiri.
Yeah, but Flanagan is back. And then you got Rhea Hargraves. So, look, in your starting team, what are you missing? You missing Cordner. You're missing
Crichton.
Radley.
Kiri.
And they're missing all them, but they've also got Tedesco. They got both Morris brothers. They got Manu, who's probably the best centre in the NRL. They got the highest point scorer in the NRL. They got the best front row in the NRL. One of the most consistent hookers in the era.
Say best front rower.
Yeah, Rhea Hargraves is the best front rower in the NRL.
God, no.
Who is?
Not him.
Come back to me.
Clemmer.
And you got Clemmer? Nah, not the way he's
Farley.
Okay, I can go with that. Campbell Gillard, no. Consistency over a long period of time as being the aggressor up front, he wins.
Clemmer.
He's not aggressive.
Ended for dumb shit and doesn't get injured.
All right, next game.
I'll do this time. This could have been a good game, but yeah. South backline is full strength. Oh, outside of James Roberts still. Latrell Mitchell at fullback with Alex Johnson and Jackson Paulo on the wings. Campbell Graham and Dane Gagai in the centres. Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds in the halves. Tavitas Totola and Tom Burgess up front with Damien Cook at hooker. Jaden Sewer, Bailey Siren and Cam Murray, second row and lock. Mark Nichols is on the interchange with Keon Kolomatangi, Patrick Margot and Jack Johns.
Oi, both of them.
Yeah. Come back in. Maybe.
I hope South Sydney play Melbourne soon. That'd be awesome.
For Manly, with Brendan Elliott doing his ACL last week to join Trebojevic on the sideline, Albert Hapawadi on loan, they run short on backs again. So Ruben Garrick at fullback with George Tafua and Tavita Funa on the wing with Brad Parker and Moses Sully in the centres. Kate Cust and Cherry Evans in the halves. Taniela Paseka off a big game last week. Partners up with Marty Power. He's been named again, even though he didn't play last week. Danny Levi at hooker. Thompson named split tongue. Sirenen and Jake Trebojevic, second row and lock. Lachlan Croker, Corey Waddell, Sean Kepi, and the Man Mountain Olakatu on number 17. A big in maybe for Manly is Fanua Blake in the reserves with Morgan Boyle, Miski, and Jack Kashevsky. I know Manly pretty much have to win from now on to get back into the finals. So whether that's going to play on Hasler's mind to put Fanua Blake in. That's a really weird stat. Jake Trbojevic has lost all 8 NRL games at ANZ Stadium.
Jesus, not for New South Wales, but NRL, yeah. You know what? I'm picking Manly.
You really do need to catch up.
Just because of the fact that Manly are known for when they get a shit injury run, they seem to play well the week after.
We played well last week.
No, you didn't. So, yeah, we played like shit.
Yeah, but you were full of strength.
Yeah, we played like shit. You got lucky.
You got lucky.
So, yeah, I just think that when shit goes against them, they seem to, for some reason, pull out a great game.
Excellent.
Like last week, I'll admit Newcastle didn't play well, but Manly had every excuse not to do what they did, and they still did it. And I don't rate South's consistency over an 80-minute period to hold out that Manly team.
Well, if South win, they've pretty much locked in a final spot because Manly's one of the only teams that could catch them.
Yeah.
So
you going South?
Both teams have got as much to play for as each other. Well, I broke my perfect science last week. I tipped against Manly and we still lost. So I think that curse is broken. So, yeah, I'll go Rabbits because I've got to keep my tipping going, but Manly all the way at the same time.
All right, you're up.
Again, all right.
Did I?
I would have just done the Manly one.
Oh, okay, yep. Sorry. So Bulldogs versus Warriors.
Oh, do you want me to do this one and you can finish with
I'll do 2 in a row. You already did 2 in a row. It's fine.
I'll sit back.
Tolman gets a start up front from coming off the bench last week with Marshall King and Ogden starting front. It's Dylan up is suspended, isn't he? Yeah. Then you got Fatala Mariner and Dory gets a start in the second row. Matt Dory.
That's because he scored a try for him.
Yeah, I thought he was the outside back, but turns out he's the second rower. You got Josh Jackson at lock. You got Jack Cogger, Kieran Foran, Karen Holland, Tim Lafay, and Nick Meaney, Remus Smith, and Will Hopewade at fullback. And you got Katoa. Luke Thompson gets dropped back to the bench now, which is surprising because I would have thought they would possibly moved him up front because he's been playing lock for so long. But, yeah, Luke Thompson got moved back to the bench.
Yeah.
Suaso Sue and Jake Avarillo. Then you got Renoff Tumaga, Dallin Watine Zalesniak. He might be a late in.
No,
Chris Smith and Lachlan Lewis.
Dallin Watine Zalesniak was dropped.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
That's a weird looking bench, man.
Yeah.
A hooker, an outside back, and 2 forwards. Anyway.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, okay. All right, and then Warriors, you got Lachlan Burr up front with Carl Lawton and Tanil Brown. It came out today that Lachlan Burr will be finding another club next year because Warriors are not going to redo his contract.
Wow.
You got Tohu Harris, Isaiah Papali, and Jazz Tavega. And you got Harris Tavita, Cody Nikaruma, Peter Hiku, Hayes Perham, Pompey, Jennings, and Tuivasa Sheck with Egan Blair, Alvaro, and Jack Murchie. And then you got Paul Turner. He's a halfback. Gerard Beale, Josh Curran, and Tom Alley is a prop. So, I don't even know what to pick on this one.
They're not re-signing Lachlan Burr?
No.
We'll take him. He's a good player.
All right, so I'm going Dogs on this. Yeah, I just think that Warriors can't keep up that attitude anymore.
Last week?
Sorry?
What did Warriors do last week?
They lost 18-12 to Penrith.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm going Bulldogs, but this could literally go any way. It could be a flogging. It could be a close game. It could be
It's looked good last couple of weeks.
It could be a 2-0 game. You don't know what these teams are going to throw out.
You see Harris DeVita try to put a shot on last week out of the line? That's what you want. Halfback. That was brilliant.
Okay, who are you picking?
Don't care. Give me a coin.
I'll go ahead with the Newcastle Warriors, Cowboys game, and you just. Yeah. All right, up front for Newcastle, you got Jacob Safidi.
Give me the Warriors, eh?
Warriors? Okay. All right, so up front for Newcastle, you got Jacob Safidi with Daniel Safidi. Even though they said he might be playing, they rested him in this game. You got Kurt Mann at hooker with Dave Clemmer up front with Guerra, Fitzgibbon and Barnett in the back row. Then you got Pearce, you got Green, Shibasaki, Tuala, Stafford Toa, Heimel Hunt and Kalen Ponga. Then on the bench, Phoenix Crossland, SESA, Josh King and Pasami Saulo gets a start after his suspension for 3 weeks, I think it was, for a tackle in midair in the Melbourne game. Then you got Brodie Jones, Tex Hoy, Chris Randall, and Momosa. I still can't figure out what Tex Hoy did to piss off Adam O'Brien. Haven't figured it out yet. And you got Jordan McLean, Reece Robson, Josh Maguire with Cohen Hess, Mitch Dunn, and Tamalolo. You got Michael Morgan, Ben Hampton, Lemilu, Opachik, Felt, Tabby, Fido, and Drinkwater. Is Clifford dropped or is he injured? No, he's dropped.
Right. How freaking awesome was it to see Fido in the clear last week?
Yeah. So Fido versus Ponga this week would be pretty cool.
You realise, like, Fido, who did he outrun last week? It was
everybody.
It was fullback first, South. Oh, no, it wasn't Latrell. It was Alex Johnson.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and Alex Johnson's faster than Ponga.
He made Johnson look like George Rose.
Then you got Ruben Cotter, John Asiata, Emre Perry, and Francis Molo. Going on form.
Justin O'Neill's on the reserves.
Sorry?
Justin O'Neill's on the reserves.
Oh, yeah. You got Wright, Clifford, Jensen, and O'Neill. So going on form, you got to pick Newcastle. But last time this happened, Newcastle.
On form, you'd pick Cowboys. They played pretty well last week.
Not for the last 20 minutes.
No,
they blew it. Games. Yeah, so for that reason, you got to pick. But last time these two teams played each other, Newcastle came in, was on form, and I'm pretty sure they got beaten 30-6. Yeah. So I can't be too sure. Obviously, I'm going to pick Newcastle, but I wouldn't. Yeah, Morgan's got to come good sometime, I reckon.
Yeah, Morgan was pretty good last week.
Yeah, but he's just going to get better and better. He's a class player, that bloke. So
I'm going to go Knights as well.
Knights, yeah.
I've been liking what the Cowboys have been doing since Hannah given that rip up about their jersey. Yeah, it's like, in all honesty, the games I'm most looking forward to, I think, happened pretty early in the weekend. You're looking forward to the Titans-Canberra game. I just have a feeling that's going to be a cracker. And the Penrith Sharks game on the Friday night, I think that's the one. Almost any other week, you'd say the Thursday night game, but I don't really think it's going to be a clear representation of if these teams against each other later on. But
I'm looking for
if the Eels put everything together and they put a score on the Storm, who knows what sort of mental games it can play later on in the one-on-one positions, like your second rows there, your Lane and Madison, Kafusi and Bromwich. Like if they meet later on, that will be the matchup there. Gutherson versus Pappenhausen could be pretty interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the Rabbits-Manly game because I'm hoping Manly put on a performance.
I'm hoping so. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Roosters game because I'm hoping to see Roosters of old come back. Because I think Trent Robinson, even though he's got a weakened team, not the weakest team, but with the players he's got back after their drubbing last week at the hands of Melbourne, I reckon they're going to come out pretty fucking hard this week and they're going to put on a show, I reckon. And Flanagan, I reckon, because we did interview him earlier in this year, I reckon he's got the competitive edge to him. I don't reckon he was happy he got dropped. I reckon he did realise what it was for, and Trent Robinson justified it to him, but I reckon he's going to come out and put on a show. I hope so. Kyle Flanagan. Yeah.
Well, for us, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. It's a nice, short and sweet one. It's actually kind of nice not to have all this off-field stuff really to talk about and just focus on the footy. I'm looking forward to actually catching a couple of games this weekend, and in saying that, kids have a way of being very busy, which is awesomely fun. But I will try my hardest to get a bit more in than last week. Oh, crack of the back there. Anything else from you, Jarrod?
No, I've talked enough.
All right. Well, in that, we'll be Wobbegone. We'll see you later.
Oh, dear God.
Thank you for tuning in to Six Again. Connect with the show on Twitter, Instagram, and the Six Again website. All links via the show's bio. Be sure to check out Adam's craft beer choice of the week.